The teasers dropped. The fandom went silent. In an instant, the entire K-pop world was turned upside down.
Oh, totally.
The red carpet was rolled out, right? The cameras were flashing.
Mm-hmm.
An A-list star steps out, proudly flashing his wedding ring to the press.
Mm-hmm.
But behind the glitz of the premiere, the whole K-entertainment world was rocked by leaked audio, photos of bloody tissues, and a multi-million-won lawsuit.
It's wild.
They try to hide this, but the evidence is real.
Yep.
Welcome to StarScope K-Report. Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu Wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates. From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
It is so great to be here with you today because we are unpacking a story that isn't just sending shockwaves through the industry. It is actively redefining the legal boundaries of what happens when fan culture collides with real life.
Oh, absolutely.
We are looking at a highly complex, incredibly tense legal and personal dispute that has everyone questioning where the line is actually drawn.
Exactly. Like, our mission for this deep dive is to lay out the explosive battle between the acclaimed box office king Hwang Jung-min, who you probably know from massive hits like Veteran and the upcoming blockbuster Hope, and a woman whom the media has identified as Ms. A.
Right.
We are going to look at how a supposed business arrangement just completely spiraled into criminal charges.
And we want to be incredibly clear with you right up front. We have official agency statements, police reports, and leaked claims from social media. Our goal today is to lay out exactly what is happening from both perspectives without taking sides.
Right. Totally neutral.
Exactly. We are looking at a situation where the narratives are completely opposed, and we are simply here to report on the facts as they've been presented by both parties.
So the initial bombshell dropped on July 29th. Mrs. A took to social media and made this really shocking claim. She stated that she had been in a two-way relationship with Hwang Jung-min, starting back in August of 2023.
Wow. August 2023.
Yeah. According to her posts, they initially met as an actor and a fan, but she claims Hwang reached out to her first and told her, "Don't be a fan anymore, be a partner."
Which is a phrase that, if true, completely shatters the traditional boundary between a celebrity and a dedicated stan.
100%.
Because, you know, the parasocial relationship in Korean entertainment is meticulously crafted. It's like a one-way mirror in an interrogation room. The agency designs it so you, the fan, feel like you are looking right into the idol's or actor's soul. You feel close, you feel seen.
Right, you get invested.
Exactly. But on the other side, the star is mostly just looking at a reflection of their broader audience. The boundary is heavily protected. Mrs. A's narrative is that this glass was intentionally shattered by Hwang himself.
And she claims this wasn't just some fleeting emotional entanglement. She frames this entire dynamic as a massive case of labor exploitation, born out of a severe power asymmetry.
Labor exploitation.
Yeah, she says Hwang proposed starting a soju business brand using his name and his representative works. So believing she was now his partner, she claims she provided immense unpaid labor. We're talking extensive market research, trademark checks, concept planning, and high-level design work.
The sheer volume of what she claims to have produced is where this story gets really complicated. Aside from the business planning, she alleges that she wrote approximately 30 essays and novels at Hwang's recommendation.
Wait, 30?
30! And she specifically claimed that one of those writings contains sexual content, which she says was produced directly at his request.
That is wild. I mean, she paints a very vivid picture of someone who poured their time, their skills, and their emotional energy into a relationship, only to have all business discussions and contact unilaterally stopped.
Right.
She says she had to endure emotional deprivation, sexual shame, and severe burnout from working without pay. According to her side of the story, she just wanted an explanation, a settlement for the labor she put in and a clean way to organize the relationship when he abruptly cut off contact.
And she even stated she suggested resolving it quietly, but he didn't respond.
Yeah.
But if we look at how the other side responded, we see a completely different reality. We have to look at the immediate and categorical defense from Hwang Jung-min's agency. His agency is Sem Company, which is actually headed by his wife of 22 years, Kim Mi-hai.
Wait, hold on. I'm struggling with the agency's defense here as we get into it. The fact that his wife runs the agency means they are going to protect him fiercely, but it also means the stakes for an alleged affair are astronomically high. What exactly is Sem Company claiming happened?
Well, Ahem Company released a firm statement denying any affair whatsoever. They explicitly state that this was a massive misunderstanding that arose from the standard relationship between a fan and an actor.
Okay.
According to their timeline and records, the two only met face-to-face 3 times, starting around the premiere of the movie Smugglers, for a grand total of about 5.5 hours. And they stressed there was absolutely no physical contact, no hand-holding, no hugging, no kissing.
Okay, but how does the agency explain the business plans and the novels?
The agency claims Hwang was just making a casual joke.
A joke?
Yeah, they say he was trying to be friendly, and Miss A took a lighthearted comment way too seriously. They argue that Hwang's excessive kindness and perhaps careless remarks might have caused some confusion, but that she unilaterally exaggerated the meaning of their interactions and took it upon herself to do all this work.
I have to stop you there, because the disparity between these two stories is jarring. If this was just a casual joke over 5.5 hours of meeting, how does that possibly translate into someone handing over 30 novels and doing trademark checks?
I know, it sounds...
It's like casually mentioning you like food and someone builds you a fully staffed restaurant. Where's the disconnect here? Is it possible Hwang did lead her on more than the agency is admitting? Or is this a complete misinterpretation on her part?
That is the core tension of the case, right? This raises a crucial point about how communication functions across massive power imbalances. From the agency's perspective, a top-tier star was just making polite, throwaway conversation with an overly dedicated fan to keep her happy.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
But from Miss A's perspective, she genuinely believes she was given a legitimate mandate from a powerful industry figure. You have to consider the psychological weight of a megastar validating you. When that communication eventually broke down and Hwang allegedly blocked her on messaging apps, that civil dispute rapidly deteriorated.
And that's not even the wildest part of this controversy. Wait till you hear what disturbing evidence netizens uncovered next that forced the police to get involved. But real quick, if you love staying updated on your favorites and getting the real story behind the headlines, make sure you subscribe to StarScope K-Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead.
Yeah, so that breakdown in communication is exactly what turned a messy civil dispute into a severe criminal case.
Because she lost her direct line to him. Her attempts to get what she felt was closure transformed into behavior that triggered South Korea's stalking laws.
Exactly. Because she felt she couldn't get her explanation or her settlement, her actions escalated to a point that forced Hwang's team to act.
Hwang's side decided that her behavior crossed the line from a disgruntled associate to criminal harassment. They submitted a terrifying amount of evidence to the police to file a formal criminal complaint under the Act on Punishment of Stalking Crimes.
And the numbers they provided are just staggering.
They really are.
Yeah.
They presented evidence showing she sent 113 texts in a span of just 4 days.
And it wasn't just the frequency, it was the volume. In a single day, she reportedly sent 10,000 characters worth of Kakao Talk messages.
10,000.
Yes, 10,000. To put that in perspective for you, 10,000 characters is roughly equivalent to a dozen pages of a standard book, sent in a single 24-hour period.
Oh my gosh. And the content of these messages wasn't just angry demands for a paycheck. We're talking cinematic, thriller-level visual descriptions in the police reports.
It gets really dark here.
It does. The messages allegedly contained hints of extreme choices, which is the term often used in Korean media to describe self-harm or suicide. There were reportedly photos of a dead cat, a will, and photos of blood-stained tissues sent directly to his phone.
Let's talk about why the police reacted so swiftly to this specific evidence. Under South Korean law, stalking isn't just defined as physically following someone. It is legally defined as repeatedly approaching, contacting, or sending items to someone against their wishes in a way that causes them fear or anxiety.
Right, so it covers digital harassment.
Exactly. Sending graphic imagery and threatening self-harm as a manipulation tactic hits the exact criteria for causing psychological fear. The court looked at this evidence and took immediate action. Mrs. A was hit with 3 provisional protective orders, which act as strict no-contact restraining orders, and a summary order fine of 3 million Korean won, which is roughly $2,100 US.
Wow. But I think it's fascinating that Mrs. A is absolutely not backing down from this legal reality. She isn't just paying the fine and walking away.
Not at all, and this is a really important legal nuance for you to understand if you follow Korean news. Mrs. A formally objected to the summary fine.
What does that mean for her case?
Well, in the South Korean legal system, a summary order is essentially a fine issued by a judge through written proceedings without a full, open trial. Because she objected and requested a formal trial, she is legally pointing out that she does not have a finalized conviction.
Oh, I see.
She is forcing the stalking charges to be heard from scratch in a first criminal trial where she can publicly defend her context.
So she's fighting the criminal stalking charge, but she's also going on the offensive with a civil suit, right?
Yes, she has filed her own civil lawsuit against Hwang Jung-min for 200 million Korean won, which is about 145,000 US dollars, claiming damages for the labor exploitation and emotional distress, she alleges. That case was referred to court mediation, set for August 14th. Though, given the massive gap in their stories and the pending criminal trial, a quiet settlement seems incredibly unlikely.
Before we move on to how this spilled over into the rest of the industry, I want to look at the psychology here. We cover the Hallyu Wave a lot on this deep dive, but this feels like the absolute extreme manifestation of parasocial marketing gone wrong.
It really is. If we look at how hardcore K-entertainment fandoms operate, agencies spend a lot of time and money making fans feel deeply connected to the stars.
Yeah, they do.
But there is a psychological jump that can happen. A fan can go from being a dedicated stan who buys movie tickets and streams shows to someone who feels a genuine sense of ownership or entitlement over a celebrity's time and personal life.
Which is super dangerous.
Right. When an agency builds a parasocial wall that is entirely one-sided and a fan believes they've been invited to cross it, being blocked on Kakao Talk doesn't feel like a boundary to them. It feels like a glitch in the relationship that they have to force their way through.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a deep dive into the stories that shake the Hallyu Wave, because we really need to look at what happened next.
We do.
When the direct lines of communication were legally severed by those restraining orders, Mrs. sought alternative, highly controversial routes to force Hwang to communicate. And honestly, this is the moment she lost almost all of her public support in Korea.
Yes, this is where the narrative shifts completely. Cut off legally, she decided to bypass Hwang and go after his family.
Specifically his teenage son, which is just wow.
It's the ultimate taboo. In February of 2024, Mrs. Hay secretly attended the school performance of Hwang's high school-aged son.
Oh, gosh.
She then sent a photo of the ticket to Hwang's side as a pressure tactic to prove she was there and could access his family. Even worse, she sent a direct message to the minor child himself saying, "If you don't want articles to come out, tell your father to contact me."
This was the absolute breaking point. If you want to understand the reaction of domestic Korean netizens, K-netz, this is it. Netizens might live for KT. They might love gossip, rumors, and exposing agency misdeeds, but targeting the youngest in the family, the maknae, is an immediate, unforgivable red line in K-culture.
Exactly.
Why is that line so rigidly drawn in this culture compared to others?
Because South Korean society places an incredibly high premium on family privacy, especially for public figures.
Yeah.
Celebrities often go to great lengths to shield their children from the intense spotlight of the Hallyu Wave.
Yeah.
Children are strictly off limits. The moment she involved a high school student to use him as leverage against his famous father, she destroyed any public sympathy she might have had regarding her claims of unpaid labor.
Regardless of what actually happened with the business stuff.
Right. Hwang even stated in his police complaint that he was extremely anxious that she had obtained his son's contact info. He actually met her at a cafe in March, despite everything, just to try and calm her down and beg her to stop contacting his family.
And the fallout didn't stop at the family. She took this to the corporate level. She actually emailed the production companies behind Hwang's current blockbuster film, Hope. We are talking about major industry players, Forged Films, plus M Entertainment, and even the Hollywood distributor Neon.
Seriously?
Yeah, she emailed them warning them of a long-term harm issue involving their lead actor, essentially threatening the international rollout of a massive film if her demands for an explanation weren't met.
Which is a massive escalation that forces the industry to take a stance. But what's interesting is that the production companies didn't bend. Often in K-entertainment, the moment a scandal breaks, agencies and sponsors drop the artist immediately to avoid bad PR.
Right. They usually put the artist on an indefinite hiatus at the first sign of trouble. So why didn't they do that here?
Because they consulted with Hwang's team and saw the concrete evidence. They saw the stalking charges and the provisional protective orders issued by a judge. Because there was legal documentation classifying her as a stalker, the companies completely backed Hwang.
Wow, they actually stood by him.
In fact, plus M and Forged Films issued statements threatening their own legal action against Mrs. A for business interference. They accused her of sending maliciously edited emails to their partners and actively interfering with their corporate operations.
So despite all of this chaos, the emails to Hollywood distributors, the 200 million won civil lawsuit, the police reports, the fear for his family, Hwang Jung-min, has shown incredible public resilience. On July 29th, the very day these social media allegations blew up and hit the press, he attended the Hope stage greeting event.
Yeah, he really showed up.
And he didn't hide in the back. He prominently wore his wedding ring on his left hand the entire time, projecting a completely united front with his wife and agency CEO.
It's a very deliberate, calculated PR move. In an industry where visuals and optics are everything, wearing the ring sends a clear message of domestic stability. It tells the public and its investors, my house is in order, my wife stands by me, and these allegations are baseless.
Absolutely. And he is pushing forward without missing a beat. His agency confirmed his schedule remains completely unchanged. He's appearing as the first guest on Season 5 of the SBS variety show Whenever Possible, alongside Jung Ho-yeon, and he's starting a new movie shoot next month called A Good House to Live In.
Which sets a really interesting industry precedent. It shows that his agency and the massive production companies backing him are treating this strictly as a criminal stalking issue rather than a moral scandal that requires him to go into hiding.
Right. No hiatus needed.
Exactly. They are refusing to let the allegations dictate his career momentum, which might change how agencies handle overzealous fans making claims in the future.
It's just wild when you step back and look at the sheer scale of this situation. You have a massive blockbuster movie's international rollout, a civil lawsuit for $145,000, a criminal stalking trial, and a family's privacy and safety all hanging in the balance of this ongoing legal war.
It is a massive collision of fandom entitlement, the legal system, and the global Hallyu Wave machine.
It really is.
And as these court dates approach, the truth, whether it's a genuine case of severe labor exploitation or a terrifying case of obsessive stalking, will ultimately have to be proven with hard evidence before a judge, not just debated in the court of public opinion on social media.
Definitely.
The outcome of this trial could fundamentally shift how agencies draw up legal boundaries between stars and their fans.
Which leaves you with something really important to think about. When the boundary between a global megastar and a fan completely dissolves, and communication moves from heartfelt fan letters to brutal courtrooms and restraining orders, who really holds the power in the end?
That is a great question.
You've been listening to StarScope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu Wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.